Hi, I'm George, the Weather Dad, and we're going to be taking a look at your next 5 to 6 days and then a sneak preview on into next week. And that's where I think a big change is on the horizon for us right here, not only in the Midwest, but it looks like the eastern half of the country. And that change will also affect what's going on into the tropics, and I'll explain. Here on Wednesday is going to be the first of two cold fronts that's going to be affecting us. You see some yellow colors now sneaking their way into the Ohio Valley, and our normal highs this time of year, middle 80s for highs and middle 60s for nighttime lows, which means that you might want to start considering open up the windows, turn off the AC at night, let some of that fresh air in, because again, this is on Wednesday and that cooler air will be working its way in. It's going to be really chilly up into the Northeast. By Thursday, you kind of see again some yellows right here, so temperatures are going to be a little bit below normal or close to normal. There's Hurricane Erin, and Erin's going to be pretty darn close to the Outer Banks there in North Carolina, and that's going to be some rather inclement weather, certainly very breezy for you, but you won't get hit by Erin. Erin is going to be out into the Atlantic, and that's certainly some good news. But notice again the cooler air there in the Midwest. By Friday, you still see a little bit, modifies just a little bit. We could be warming up a little bit more, closer to normal, a little bit above normal right here in the Ohio Valley. But look what's lurking up towards the north. Watch what happens here on your Saturday. That starts working its way towards the southeast. And then on Sunday, it does work its way in. I think temperatures are going to be really pretty nice. We're going to see lower humidities as well. It's not going to be anything really cold, but it's going to be feeling pretty nice. A nice little break from the heat and humidity. Now watch what happens here for next week on Wednesday. That front works its way all the way down into the southeast. And so temperatures next week could certainly be below normal for afternoon highs. We could see low temperatures down into the 50s by next week. Now, why is this important? Because you kind of see a big curve right there. That's what we call the trough, and that frontal system sits down in this area. So any tropical air, weather storms that move in this direction will be caught up and then pushed out into the Atlantic, and that's certainly some good news. So it acts as a wall protecting certainly the southeast and most likely also Florida from anything developing. Now, that's the good side of the cold front. The bad side is that when it gets hung up down here, we can get a little spin up there in the Gulf of Mexico, and we'll keep an eye on that. Right now, the models aren't really showing anything at all. Here on Wednesday, there's that first cold front. There's Erin going to get real close again to the Outer Banks of North Carolina. South Carolina, you're going to get some riptides, some pretty good waves in your area as well. Most of the country, not too bad. Lots of rain heading up towards the northeast. That's on Wednesday. Here we go on Thursday. Erin continues to push out towards the northeast, a couple of lingering showers, but most of the country pretty dry on Thursday. Friday, not much change. Does get a little bit soggier down here in the southeast because that frontal system, the first one's going to get hung up there for you. And then by the weekend, you kind of see here comes that next frontal system pushing its way in. You got a little bit of a spin up. Like I said, that's what happens when you get frontal systems down in the southeast. Fortunately, this one is not over the Gulf of Mexico, so that's certainly some good news there. And then as we go with that, here comes that front. Again, you got a little bit of storminess down in the southeast, and it's going to be rather chilly up for those of you up into the Great Lakes. And then by next Wednesday, look what happens. That frontal system really gets active here at the southern end. There are lots of rain down in this area, down in Texas, and you need some rain down there, but also down in Louisiana and heading up into the Rockies. The Midwest, well, it's going to be pretty darn nice with low humidities and temperatures in the 70s, I think, will be highs by next week. But once again, we're going to have to keep an eye on the Gulf of Mexico. Potentially something could form down there. But right now, again, the models really aren't showing anything. So just hold on to cooler weather. Some nice weather will be working its way in. In fact, it may even feel a little bit like fall by next week. I'm George, the Weather Dad.